We are so grateful to have everybody on the call today and the opportunity to share more about best practices and project management, especially on using monday.com. So I'm Trevor Olick. I'm our head of sales here at Empyra. We'll talk a little bit more about Empyra and our role with monday.com. And then joining me today, I have Sharmendra. Sharmendra, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharmendra. I'm a monday.com consultant, and today I will be walking you through the project management application on monday.com.
Thank you, Sharmendra. And then Sarit, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, just a quick hello and nice to see everyone again. My name is Sarit Chalamish and I'm a senior channel partner manager here at Monday, and I love working with this group. They know what they're doing and they are specialized in IT and obviously very strong in the educational space. So it's a great fit. Looking forward to seeing the demo.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarit. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to go through this today. So we do have just a few slides to briefly introduce project management and Empyra and monday.com. And essentially, at the end of the day, why use monday.com for your project management needs. So just a brief introduction to Empyra. We are a consulting technology firm founded around 25 years ago. We specialize in helping different organizations across corporate and education with various consulting roles and opportunities, from we've actually developed our own various education platforms to helping other institutions integrate and implement technologies such as monday.com. So, we're here all today because we want to know, why is monday.com ideal for your project management needs? I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of obviously bullet points here, and this is being recorded, so you all will have access to it at the end of our meeting today. But if I bubble all of these together and really think about, why is monday.com really ideal for this? It's really a modern platform that's easy to use for your staff, that is flexible. So it supports all different types of project methodologies, whether you're using agile or waterfall type of methodologies for your project management. There's a lot of flexibility to the platform, and we'll actually show and talk a little bit more about how that flexibility plays a role into your project management styles and the different frameworks that you guys would be using today. Aside from that, there's also a lot of automation that can be configured. So if you think about the different project management processes that you have in place today, oftentimes, there's changing and there's things that are evolving and moving. And so monday.com helps you to automate a lot of that process of making sure that when certain things happen or when certain things are accomplished or tasks are completed, that we can automatically start moving these different processes and configurations from kind of one stage to the next. Other than that, again, there's some great tools such as time tracking. We'll talk about reporting and various dashboards today as well. So it's really just a nice platform that's really built for your users. So it's really meant to encourage and be a fun experience for your users to use and help them kind of stay on track. Now, in addition to that, the other thing that really makes monday.com powerful is the power of widgets. And so we'll show on the page today, when we talk about monday.com, how you can utilize widgets to quickly access the information that's most important to you. So as you think about, as you're managing different tasks and projects across multiple teams and people, we want to make sure that we're giving you access to that important information. So when you first get into monday.com, or when you're looking into that information, you can quickly see what needs to happen for the day and for the rest of that project. We also, along those same lines, we want to make workload management easy for you. So you think about all the different resources at your institution. We want to make sure that you're utilizing those resources as efficiently as possible. And so there's things like you can set your weekly capacity, so you can see how many hours various staff or various resources are working on different things. We give you a very visual way of looking at that information to see how resources are being used or what resources could be used, just to make sure, again, that you're really using your resources and management the best as you can. Monday.com, because it was really built for today's user, is really open-ended. So it's meant to really integrate with all sorts of different solutions out there, whether it's your internal communication tools like Slack or other tools that you might be using for productivity functions. We want to make sure that you're able to connect all those different resources that you have into your monday.com experience. So that being said, I'm excited to be able to turn the page over to Sharmendra, who's going to take us through the monday.com platform. So Sharmendra, it's all yours.
Thank you, Trevor. So this is monday.com platform, and today I'm going to show you the demo on the project management tool. So let's assume that we got a request of project. So this is a request form. So the request form in this particular platform, this form has various capability based upon your requirement. You can have multiple ways of configuring the form. So let's assume that we have created one form to get or to ingest the project request, right? So let's assume that the project name is Project Earth, and some executive summary of the project, because we are getting the request. So some summary. Let's assume that it is actually a test summary. And then we have what anticipated outcome we have. So we can add, let's say, or executive summary, I can add AI platform for insurance, for example. Anticipated outcome details, for example, and sample recommendation. And let's say I'm submitting it. So the moment it is getting submitted, so what will happen? It will ingest this request and land inside monday.com board as a project request. So you can see here, this is the Project Earth, and this Project Earth, the request status is new request. What is the requested date? And executive summary that we have entered in that form, anticipated outcome, what the recommendation. And in this particular form, you have seen that when I click here, there's a multiple ways where you can embed this form. Either you can share with any of your guest user, or you can embed this form in your website also, right? Now let's assume that this project request we got, and after looking into this particular project request, let's assume that I sent it for consideration. So that is under consideration. This is one of the status. So after receiving this new request, it will move from Project Earth, this new request, to under consideration, and different team will look into this particular request. Let's assume that I change this one for new request, from new request to under consideration. So what will happen? It will make a transition. This is what we call it as a workflow got triggered, and it moved this item, this project request from new request to under consideration. Let's assume that after having this consideration about this particular project, we found that the approved budget is, let's say, 70K. This is the approved budget. And based upon your requirement, you can add your fields, you can modify the fields. For the demo purpose, I have added these details. And now, after having this consideration, let's say you interacted with a couple of people, so you can actually do the conversation with different team members. For example, you can mention @mention, and different name will come, right? And you can say that I am looking to this request, and you can update it. And since it is @mentioned to this particular user, so user will get notified. Now, what will happen after this under consideration. Let's assume that we felt that, okay, this project is quite viable and we need to approve it. So what we will do, we'll go ahead and approve it. So the moment it is approved, again, workflow transition will happen, workflow execution will happen, and it will move this particular project from under consideration, this particular bucket or a group, we call it as a group here, or a status, to this particular group. So sometimes it may take a couple of seconds to move it. Sometimes immediately it will happen based upon the location. So since it is actually a demo instance, so once it is approved, it will be moved here. Now, what will happen here when this workflow is getting transition and it is actually moving from here to here? This will create project inside a portfolio management board. These are nothing but a board here. These are one boards. This is project request is one board, stakeholder analysis another board, portfolio management is one of the board. So you can see here the project Earth moved from under consideration to approved. Now, what will happen if I go to the portfolio management? We can see project Earth getting populated here. Now here, it will list all the upcoming projects or current running projects or closed project in the portfolio management, right? Now, as you see there, these are the different columns right now we have added, and based upon the requirement, different columns can be added, modified, right? So here, let's say the project budget, which I entered in the project request form, is 70K. Project timeline, let's assume that I am entering this 1st of July to 29th of July. This is actually a project timeline. Project request, it is linked with the project request. That is the reason it is showing as this link. This is known as connected board. So this particular project, this particular board is linked with this board. That is the reason it is actually showing like this. Status is upcoming. Approved budget is this. Now, let's assume that this particular status from upcoming, we are converting it into in progress. So what will happen? Though you have an incoming project, now based upon the interaction with the different teams. So again, in order to interact with the team, you have a provision to open this conversation and again start the interaction with different team. Even you can add and share different files. You have a provision to pick the files from computer or Google Drive from Dropbox. So based upon your requirement, you can actually share that project details, right? In this particular stage. Now let's assume that we felt that, okay, this is upcoming project, all the details are there with me. I will allocate one project manager and I'm adding project manager as myself, and then status is in progress. So status, when the moment I'll change from upcoming to in progress, again, it will move from here to here, a transition will happen, workflow transition will happen, and then it will create a new project. It will create a new board. With, you can see here, project Earth got created here. Let me expand this. You can see here, project Earth got created. Now, project Earth got created, but every project has its own steps of execution, right? Or different steps to be followed in order to complete that particular project. So when we click on this particular newly created project, then in that case, we'll have a planning, execution, launch, and based upon your requirement, even you can change this one. So right now for the demo purpose, what we did when we trigger this workflow from portfolio management to creation of a new project, what we have done, we selected template based upon the project template. We have created this new project. So you can change this one. So here we have, this is known as planning bucket. This is known execution bucket. This is launch bucket. So here you can add different tasks. For example, task 1, this is a planning phase. Even you can add the status and then the timeline. This particular task is dependent on which task. So for example, task, this is actually another task, task 2, or you can add a milestone also, right? And let's assume that this task 2 is dependent on task 1. So you can select like this, right? And you can see the detail when you click on that. And then you can add what is a planned effort, what is the effort spent, completion date, all these details you can enter. And then, so for demo, you can have multiple tasks inside this one. For demo purpose, I will go to the project alpha, where the similar kind of data we have a planning, we have execution. In order, so I'm not entering each and every item here. So we have created these items for the demo. So let's say these are the tasks. So for planning, we have the task 1, task 2, task 3. These tasks are in planning stage. Some tasks will be in execution stage, some tasks will be in launch stage. So you can see here, this project alpha has this task, and underneath this one, you have a subtask. You can also create subtask under a task. So this is the feature in monday.com. And also you can define which activity is dependent on what. For example, you can see the execution task 4, this milestone planning is dependent on this task 4. So what happened that milestone planning, you can link this milestone planning here like this. This is also known as how you can configure your dependent task. And then what is a planned effort, actual effort, completion date, completion status, all those things you can track it here. Once we have these details, you can track the progress of the project, right? So how will you track the project progress? We have a couple of views. We call it as a views. So let's say I would like to see what are the tasks assigned to me. So these are 2 owners. So my name is showing it here. That is the reason these 2 tasks assigned to me. Let's say I would like to see the overall progress of the project. So you can see the overall project. This is what Trevor was mentioning. This is a battery where you can actually look into the task progress. So this is how many tasks are done, what are in future steps, which task is in working on it. These are the different task statuses. Then you have this pie chart where you can see the task completion status. We also have a resource management part where you will be able to see the workload. This is very important here. So let's say you have a project and you have assigned a different task to a different team member, right? For example, these are the one of team member. Let's say in the task 4 also I'm adding some other team member, right? So what will happen if you go to the project dashboard in resource management section, this dashboard will show what is the workload for each and every user, right? And even you can search by month, days, weeks. So on fly, you can change this filter, right? And you can see how much workload is there. You can see here, this is actually 30 hours of work is there, then there's 22. So based upon that, you can actually check that workload. This is one of the good feature inside Monday where you can really track the workload of resources. Then you have a Gantt chart where you can see how your task is progressing based upon the different time. So you can see task 1, you can see it is in planning, then task 2, after task 1, task 2 will be getting executed, then task 3, then milestone training. Even you can actually change here the timeline. You can see here, you can click on that and you can change the timelines here. Then let's say you are actually executing this particular project, and some risks will be there when you are executing certain projects, right? So in order to manage those risks, we have a risk register where you can actually manage those risks. So how you will manage the risk? So this is again a different project board or different board where we have risks. You can define the risk. For example, this is risk 1. You can enter the description. What are the implications? Who is the owner of that risk? You can easily add the owner, right? You can add the owner. And what is the risk status? Or what is the probability of the risk? What is the impact? What is the risk level? These details can be added and modified based upon the business needs. So for the demo, we have defined these are the only columns, but you can modify. Then you have, so this is based upon the project. We have defined the risk register. Accordingly, you can add multiple projects. and then you can define your own risks. And here in automation section, you can define your own automation. You can see here, this automation, it will show when probability changes to unlikely or only if impact is minor, set risk level to low. So these are the certain automations, or these are the automations that you can set easily on monday.com platform without any technical knowledge or even minimal coding, or there's no coding required at all. Now let's assume that you have a risk and you identified the risk, and all the risk you have actually collected in a single board. There is also one where you can do the stakeholder analysis of the project, right? For example, who are the stakeholder, and what are the level of interest, stakeholder, what are the mapping. So these details you can manage in monday.com. Even you can actually see the stakeholders in a stakeholder card. So this is one of the widget where you can look into the stakeholders in the card view. Apart from that, you can also have a resource utilization view in some other aspect also. For example, I would like to see how the resources are getting utilized based upon the different teams. So for example, we have a team 1, team 2, and team 3. You can define your own teams, and then you can check which this particular team is working on this particular project. What is the project timeline? What is the team size? Hours requested, rates you can define. Again, this can be changed, this can be modified. It is actually for the demo purpose, we have defined this column. You can click here, add column, and you can choose your own column types based upon your requirement and add those columns in this particular board. So once you have a resource utilization, once you have a project details, risk analysis, sometimes it may so happen that some project will be there which you would like to execute in a more agile way, right? Some project will be basically we can call it as an agile project management. So there is a provision where you can do the agile project management. So in this agile project management, we have agile roadmap. For example, let's say first we define the agile roadmap in Q1, what initiatives you would like to do, then Q2, what initiatives. And based upon these agile initiatives, again, this Q1 initiative, Q2 initiatives, these are the groups. You can modify, you can add your own groups. You can see here, this Q1 initiative, what exactly items that we have added, what are the action items that you would like to do, right? Then this view can be changed easily in a Kanban view. So these are the different status, and easily you can move from one status to another status. You can see here, this one, just drag and drop, right? So accordingly, you can actually make the change. Then current quarter, for example, current quarter detail you would like to see, you can easily see through a filters, and on fly, you can create your filters. So for example, let's say you would like to change the filter. So right now it is showing the current. So it is showing, if you go here, right hand side, you can see these are the filters available. And if you click switch to advanced filter, it will show where you'd like to apply this filter. You can apply the conditions and you can select that value. So this can be easily configured. Once you have a agile projects roadmap, then let's say you'd like to do the sprint planning. Again, this can be modified. For example, in sprint 1, you will have a backlog. You will define the backlog items, and based upon the backlog, you can select which item will go, or which task will go to which sprint, right? So you can just drag and move it, or you can define your own workflow transition to move from one group to another group. So this you can do. Apart from that, as I mentioned to you, that in agile also you can check the workload. So for example, in workload, right now you are seeing unassigned. The reason is that it is not assigned to the individuals. For example, you can assign it to different owners. So accordingly, you can actually, who is the designer, for example, who is a developer. These changes you can do on fly, right? These things, and even you can see here what are the estimated story points. These we have already added as a sample, right? So in a sprint 2 also you can do the same thing, sprint 1 also you can do the same thing. And once you have this sprint, and let's say sprint is running, so you'd like to communicate with someone or with a team, then you can actually click here. It will open your conversation with the team, right? You can open a conversation with the team like this. As I mentioned, you can do the @mention and communicate with the team accordingly, right? Apart from that, once let's say the project sprint is over, you would like to do the sprint retro. So sprint retro, you can enter the different topic details. For example, what are the sample topic? I have just mentioned sample topic. You can add different topics here. Even you can add sub items here, and you can track that what are the retro outcome. Even you can collect the votes from different actually team member. For example, I have voted, so that is the reason showing as a voted. This is one of the column features. You can add it in your board. Then once you, this is one way of doing the agile project management. Let's say you are receiving continuous tasks from different customers, or you have a continuous task coming up. Let's say you want to do a defect management, right? So let's say then in that case, you can go for a Kanban where you will have a continuous works coming up. So in that case, let's say request backlog, these are the requested backlogs are there, and then this is ready for development. These two are the groups. We call it as a backlog. Even you can add multiple backlogs. For example, let's say sample backlog, let's say 1 also. And accordingly, you can change the backlog name and what is a problem opportunity, what is a priority. Again, it is up to you what exactly you'd like to change, right? Then status, let's say that exactly this is actually is high. And then status is under discovery, type is feature enhancement, request ETA, all those things you can actually enter it here, right? And then you can mention that whether you want to commit it or not commit. For example, let's assume that we have this requested ETA is this is this one tomorrow. Submission date is say on 11th, and backlog, but still would like to commit. So the moment is, so you can actually have a feature of committing this particular feature from this backlog, right? And again, you can trigger your own automations based upon that. As I mentioned to you, that automation you can easily create with from this particular menu. And then we'll have a committed plan. So here, if you see, just now we have actually committed. So committed backlog coming it here, feature enhancement, right? It is for ready for development, right? And because when you click on that button, automation got triggered and it created a feature enhancement. And then team will work on that. Sometimes it will have a bugs, and you can actually, track your bugs here. And based upon the need, you can actually even create your own groups or a status. We have a Kanban view of this task or this whole board, where when you click on that, it is just a view. On Monday, on fly, you can create it. So ready to start working on it, stop, done, empty. These are the statuses. And as I mentioned to you, you can drag and drop it, and automatically it will be actually moving from one status to another status. Coming to the dashboards that you have that are available, this is one of the dashboards. You can add multiple dashboards. So let's say what is the average lead time, and what is a work in progress, how many tasks are there which is work in progress. And then we have a task by priority. So how many tasks are in high priority, how many tasks are then medium, then low. Task by statuses, which we have shown as a Kanban view we were showing. These were the statuses. How you can actually add your own widget, which I would like to show you quickly here. So when you click on, let me go to the project alpha. So that will give a clear identification on how you can do that. For example, this is the project dashboard, and this is the project. These are the widgets. So when you click on add widget, you can select your own widget based upon your requirement, and each widget is showing certain description. Based upon the description, you can select it and include it in your dashboard. Now, once we have a project, sometimes every project management has some task which is miscellaneous, or I can say extra task, or a task which you would like to track it separately. For example, what is basically the timesheets, right? How will you manage your timesheets? So for in this particular board, you can see week 1, what is exactly which is employee, which is supervisor, what is the role, what are the regular hours, absentees, reason, you can track, right? So this timesheet, you can easily track it here, and based upon your need, you can actually add your own formula, you can add your own columns and track your timesheet here. If I go to the dashboard, you can see that in week 1, how the task is actually, what timesheet is getting progressed, and total number of hours logged, and back office, how many counts are there, front desk, how many, warehouse, how many. These are the things you can easily track it here. Apart from that, you will have a budget plan. So it is a very high level budget plan. Even you can slice and dice to any level. You can create your own budget. So let's say, for example, sales on budget or out of budget, then point of contact, start date, what is the budgeted amount, actual spend differences. And even, for example, for any operations, you can track that project, project is on track or not based upon the budget. We can actually, calculate these values and see whether the project is basically profitable or not. Apart from that, we have a work schedule. So let's say week-wise and days, what is start time, what is finish time, morning role, back office, afternoon role, who will be working on that, what's the role of that particular manager person, then hourly rate, everything you can track it here. Then you will have a dashboard. So in this particular dashboard, the data that we have captured in the main table, this is a main table. You can see here what is the contracted hours, total number of hours worked, hours of work, then morning roles, then afternoon roles. This all you can actually track it easy. And when you click on that, you can do the drill down and go to the specific items or records. Then one more feature we'd like to show. This is action plan. Again, you can create your own action plan that in January, what is your Q1 goal, Q2 goals, those things you can track it easily, and it can be modified. It means, as I mentioned, you can create your own columns and all. Just why I want to show you how quickly you can create your status. And this you can see here, status got created, right? You can give the name of the status. For example, I would like to give as a miscellaneous status. And then you can actually add your own values here. New label, you can actually add it like this, maybe on progress, let's say to do, right? So in easily you can actually add it, easily you can add. And apart from that, there is also a provision where you can actually add a new form, new folder, new document. This is where you can document your project. For example, when you click on new doc, you can give a name of the particular doc. Let's say it is actually project earth documentation. And when you click on create doc, it will create a document, and then you can start entering the details. So various widgets are there. For example, you can actually project goal. You can select. So this is the project goal. If you select this one, project goal, and you can change it to large. So in that way, you can keep creating your document here, and you can store it here. Even you can give a permission to the specific team who can actually view it, who can actually edit it, right? You can see here only doc owners can modify, everyone who has access to this doc. So who can actually change it, who can edit it, you can define it with the permissions. So this is all about how you can do a project management. And on a very quickly, I would like to also add that in any of the board, it is very easy to add permissions. You can go and track the board permissions here. You can see here who users can view all the tasks in the board. User can view only the tasks that they have created or assigned. That also you can actually do. So you can easily track the board permissions with these options. And a small feature where, for example, you would like to do the mass update of certain fields, for example, certain columns. So you can select this one and make it, for example, done. So the moment you change it from done, you can see here these two status got changed. So this, I think, a mass update, you can do it easily. So this is all about how you can actually manage your project. Any questions?
Sharmendra, I know we had several questions that came into the chat earlier.
Okay.
I think we were able to answer most of them. So there's a question, Sharmendra, are most of these pre-built templates?
These, okay.
Would you be able to address that, Sharmendra? Or sorry?
Can you please repeat? I did not actually get the last
I'm
one.
sorry. Yeah, the question is, are most of these pre-built templates?
So Sharmendra, I think what we need to do is show them the templates that is available out of the box, and then we can say that these can be utilized for anything that they want to see. Can you hear us?
Yeah, got it. I got it, the question. So thing is that here, some of the are out of the box, but you might have seen that how the project Earth got created. There is a way to do this as a part of implementation, but I will show you how you can add project management template. So click on add, choose from the template, and there's a project management. You can choose your own project template here. These are the project templates. And when you click, for example, when you select any of the multi-project and just click on use template, what will happen? It will create those boards here. So this is how you can add project management template. However, let's say you would like to use an existing template, and whenever a new project is getting created, you would like to use that template and create a new project. So I have created this one as a project management template, project PMP template version 1.0. So how you can create a template? Select any board. You can select any board. For example, I would like to select project beta. And you can actually, you can select this particular board from here. This is actually 3 dots, right? More action, save as template. The moment you click on save as template, whenever you write your own automation where you would like to create project in a runtime. When I say runtime, it means that when a status is getting changed from this to this, the way that I have done for portfolio, when a status changes from upcoming to in progress, project Earth got created here. How project Earth got created? I would like to show it to you, where you can actually use the automation. And here, when a status changes to in progress, create a board from the template. So create the board. The board is, this is actually a template that I have saved, project PMP template version 1.0, which I have shown you just now. And the name of the project, the board will be the name of the item itself. And then you can actually also select what is the workspace. workspace here is, this is the workspace. This is a whole workspace. Inside workspace, you have these are the boards. So template, you can create it manually also from your side. Apart from that, you can use out of the box template also. Both options are available.
Thank you, Sharmendra. There's another question. Is it possible to add a sub item to a sub item?
Right now, we have only one level of sub item supported on monday.com platform, but there is a different ways to achieve it. So for example, if you see project alpha, I can see only one, you can see only one sub item. Below that, you can't create another sub item. So right now, the feature that is supported is one level of hierarchy.
But there are other ways of doing it. So it's not the end of the story.
Yes.
Story is there's ways of doing it. We have achieved it through different means.
Yep. So we would like to understand more on the business side, what exactly trying to achieve. Accordingly, we can see how we can implement it. We have done earlier for the other customers also.
And you can also use the card view as another layer, right? If you look at the subtask with the card view, that also achieves that extra layer.
Yeah.
Wonderful questions. Thank you, everybody.
I see one more question about Freshworks. You guys want to take this?
Yeah, they're saying, will monday.com integrate with Freshworks, Freshdesk platform? For sure, we can integrate with any other system that already has an API, existing API. I'm sure Freshworks has those APIs already in place, so we can easily do that. It's not an issue at all. I am not very sure if there is an out-of-the-box integration.
Not there, no. As far as I know, there is no. Sharmendra, do you mind just hovering on the integration center just to show? I think we have about 50 right now, which are out of the box. I do not think that Freshworks is one of them, but you can see a few top ones. You're probably seeing some of the tech stack tools that you are using. So you can take a quick glance. Obviously, it's out there. You can see it. But as was mentioned by Vishy, it's definitely possible with an open API.
Yeah.
So Hope has a question. Says, please clarify they would need a license to have a license then. I am not sure I fully understand your question, Hope. Can you please clarify? License to Monday or license to Freshworks?
I think this is about the forms. Is this correct, Hope, about your previous question? Okay, so I think if I understood correctly, the question was whether a person that works at the same organization can actually respond through a form without having a license. And the answer is yes, they're able to create a project or whatever the form is designated to achieve. So yes, you can actually just provide them with a link and they're good to go. So this is kind of a way to bypass, you know, having to have everyone within the platform and have those who need to be in the platform there. But obviously, if you want them to collaborate with you, then it would be ideal to have them as well working and collaborating, but it's really up to you.
If there is another question on the chat, says if I created boards while testing, can that be transferred if I purchase the license? I believe the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Not an issue. So if you created boards while you're testing it, and then
it's there for you, Eric. Absolutely. So we essentially transition or activate, so to speak, the account that you are starting with into your live environment. And if you prefer to create an entirely new trial for the new account, you also have a way to transfer everything, but you can actually activate this exact trial. So no issue there.
Hope had a question, and I actually by mistake clicked I'll answer live. So let me answer that question. Can we modify the fields required for the project request form and add descriptive text? The answer is yes, you can modify the fields and you can add some text and stuff to it. Not an issue.
Really great questions, everyone. Keep them coming. We have a few more minutes and we're here for you. So any other question that comes to mind, please feel free. I think you saw, and really thank you so much, Sharmendra, for all the great walkthroughs, all the nooks and crannies. There's a lot more, but Sharmendra really nailed every single key aspect. You can see so much, and it's so powerful. Thank you. Let's see if there are any other questions. Maybe not. So Vishy, Trevor, do you guys want to?
Yeah, I'll wrap things up. Yeah, thank you again, Sharmendra, so much for that walkthrough, and thank you everybody for participating today. Your questions and thoughts really mean a lot to us. Obviously, we would love to continue the conversation. Today really was just meant to be a more high-level introduction to monday.com, but we'd love to talk with your institutions and schools and see, what sort of project management needs do you have, and really provide more of a specific demo for your own institution. So if that makes sense to you all, we'll be in touch, and feel free to let us know or reach back out to myself and let us know how we can potentially be of further assistance to you. But thank you again, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful day. And if there's anything else we can help with, just let us know. All right. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you,
all.
everyone.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate you, and have a great summer. All the best. Thank you.